Okay, I got the pod on. I got the lines plugged together. Turn the key on. I get juice to the light in the gauge dial, and everything pops on here. This is flashing, telling me there's something up, and then the battery symbol's flashing. I've been tinkering with these electronics on here quite a bit. I may have run that battery down some, we'll see. Anyway, manually turn the fan on. Of course, that tells me that the switch is on. That tells me the fan's running. And it is running. So that works. So now we're going to see if it'll fire. That was full choke, now half choke. Man, that blue light is bright. Little LED. This thing, unfortunately, is an idiot bulb. I'll get all this done and the damn thing will burn out. That's what'll happen. The last thing to plug in is the sensor. So I'm going to do that. Sensor is plugged in from the thermostat housing to the gauge. Well, the temperature gauge is up off the peg, about 125. Okay, temperature's up to 150. I'm hoping I did my job right, and so the thermostat kicks on, or the thermostat kicks in, and the heat sensor tells the fan to kick on. And if the fan kicks on, then the idiot light should come on. We'll see. The gauge is not quite, my guess it might be 180. Okay, it's been a good hour. Something wasn't quite right. The fan would kick on when I turned the switch, and it would turn off when I turned the switch off. But when it came time for the thermostat switch to kick it on, nothing was happening. So I knew I had something crossed up. I knew I had something crossed up. Flip the switch, light comes on, switch light comes on, fan comes on. That worked earlier just fine. What wasn't working was the machine kicking the thing on by itself. So here in about another 15 degrees, we'll see if this has been rectified. Alright, something's not right. It tries to kick in, and then it can't. Back to the drawing board. Okay. I got a rough wire in. Idiot light. Toggle switch, thermostat here. Any moment, the thermostat switch should be kicking that fan on up around 190, 192. Fans on. Idiot lights on. Now we'll let her suck some air through there. Fan off. Idiot light off. And it dropped it, oh, a good 10 degrees. Now, I put the switch in here just in case I hadn't to notice it was running hot. You know, I can turn the fan on manually. That's what the toggle's for. And the fan's on, idiot light's on. The little blue LED and the toggle switch is not working. It worked when I was testing things, and now it doesn't work. The switch still works, but the little LED does not work. Then again, it was a $495 or $465 switch off of eBay, free shipping. So you get what you pay for. So that's what we got, guys. Now I can start buttoning this thing back up. I'll catch you when I'm done with some stuff. This is a wrap-up video for the installation of the auto gauge, temp gauge, and sensor, the idiot light, and my rocker switch. I really enjoyed this project. I like having a temperature gauge so that I know what's going on. It gives me a little bit more peace of mind. I would also like to have an oil pressure gauge. I don't know if I'm going to get around to installing one of those or not. That would be for something on down the line. www.autometer.com. That's where I got this. When you order this gauge, as shown in the photo you saw, the sensor and some fittings come with it. So you need not order anything additional if you're going to go the route I did, using your thermostat housing to install the sensor there. Been a couple months now, I've not had any problems. I really like this little gauge, I really do. I'm not second guessing using this gauge. I've used high lifter kits before, particularly on my 2003 Polaris Ranger. That was back in 2004 or 2005. And it was $120 or so then. Go to autometer.com, you'll see that this is cheaper. And what I've read at the forums, you will see that there's some pretty good reviews on that gauge and the kit. The idiot light was something I had laying around here I wanted to make use of. If I were doing this from scratch, this would be LED. Whether or not it would be red, I don't know. Probably bright blue. I think bright blue gets your attention a little bit quicker. when you're out riding and sunny, this little bulb can be difficult to see when it's on. The whole idea behind the idiot light was, for me personally, just a personal preference, but when I'm out riding, I sometimes have difficulty hearing if the fan is on or not. So I wanted a visualization cue to let me know the status. That's what that was all about right there. The rocker switch. That again is a personal issue. You have the gauge in here. You're out riding around, and for whatever reason there has been a failure on your sensor, temperature sensor on the wheeler, and it fails to tell that fan to kick on. You look over here and you're at 210, 215 degrees. You got a problem. Reach over here, hit toggle, fan's on, you're sucking air through there, you're getting the machine cooled down. Unless there's been a failure on the fan itself. And that's an entirely different issue. The toggle rocker switch was a very inexpensive one from eBay. The switch works fine. It works fine. However, the brilliant blue LED did not survive the installation and testing process. Whether I did something to screw it up or it's just a part failure, I really don't know. But it quit working. The switch works fine. The light does not. If you're going to do this mod, you don't have to do these two things. You could just do the temperature gauge and go about your business. This is just a personal deal. Not terribly difficult, so if you want to do it, I encourage you to do it. One other quick note here. If you hit those forums, you'll find some riders, particularly those that do deep water riding or bog riding, they like to have the ability to turn their fan completely off so that it doesn't activate at an inopportune moment. They will put a kill switch for the fan up here. They can completely deactivate the fan, so no matter whether the signal is sent to the unit, to the fan or not, it's not going to kick on. I chose not to do that. That's not my riding style. My wife and I, she rides her wheeler, I ride this one. We enjoy trail riding, country road riding, so deep bog riding, things of that sort aren't something that we typically do unless it's crossing a shallow creek on a trail. Not been an issue. One quick Polaris rant here while I'm thinking about it. Polaris, listen up. If you have corrected this problem, then you might want to skip this, Polaris. But if you haven't, pay attention. You gave some thought to this instrument pod. Unfortunately, you didn't give a little bit more thought. You thought it would be a great idea to have a gear selector indication in the pod. That's great. Thank you. You thought it would be great to have a fuel status indicator in the pod. That's great. Thank you. You thought about the tach, the trip, the odometer. Those are all wonderful. Thank you. Speedometer. Outstanding. You even went a step further and incorporated a warning function in the pod that the needle will blink and a symbol will blink here, say the battery, if the battery's low. The needle will blink and the fuel symbol will blink, indicating low fuel. I believe it will even do it for extremely hot temperature, letting you know far too late that it's overheating. Polaris, Why didn't you just put the damn temperature gauge in there? Maybe you should ask yourself that. Somewhere along the line, somebody dropped the ball. You came so far, you could have finished it up. Pennies on the dollar. If this is something you corrected, outstanding. If not, get your head out of your ass. Do your customers a favor. Put the temperature gauge in the cluster, stock from the factory. End of rant. If you are going to do this mod and you do not have the means available to you to take your thermostat housing, drill it, mill it, install the sensor there are some options available to you. Number one, at the www.autometer.com website, you will see in the pictures extra fittings you can purchase. These are T-fittings. They're really easy to install. You take a couple of needle nose vice grips, you go down to your low return line on the radiator, you place one clamp as close to the radiator as you can without damaging the radiator or the hose. Then you come over 6 inches or so as far as you can and squeeze the hose and then clamp it again with a second clamp. Then you will take a sharp knife and go somewhere in between, about the middle point, in between the two clamps, and cut the hose. There will be some residual fluid there that you didn't squeeze out. It's okay. It won't be much. If it's gushing out, then you don't have something clamped correctly and you need to address that. In the kit, you should find a couple of hose clamps. You slip one hose clamp over each cut into the hose. You then install the T-fitting. Mind you, the T-fitting you order will be dependent upon your hose size, so pay attention to that when you order. Once the T-fitting is installed, slip the hose clamps up, tighten them up. Do not go retard tight. Snug them. That's it. You don't need to screw these threads up. After you've done that, then you can install your sensor into the top of that T. Either straight into it, or you may have to use one of the additional fittings that came in the sensor package. I would suggest that you Teflon tape your sensor and anything you screw into that milled fitting. It's just a little more insurance against leaks. Once you have the sensor installed, then you can release your needle nose clamps and let the fluid flow freely through the fitting. Then it's just a matter of running your electric lead from the sensor up to your gauge, just like I did. It's not difficult at all. Don't want to go that route. If you'd like to go a little cheaper, if you have a Tractor Supply store nearby, or a store that deals in agricultural equipment, they will have some fittings in there. They're black plastic. My local Real King has them. They have, in particular, they have a T fitting. Both sides of the T are barbed. You get the correct size for your hose. Slip the hose on just like you did on the other fitting. However, the shaft of the T, rather than having another barb, will have a milled fitting there. It's all plastic, but it's been finished, it's threaded. You can then do the same thing you would have done had you ordered the brass or metal fitting from autometer.com. You just screw in your adapters if you have to, then the sensor, and then you're good to go from there. The last alternative is quadovator.com. www.quadovator.com. This is a pretty good little website. you can go there and you can order a package of the temp gauge, the sensor. What's neat about these folks is you can order a thermostat housing that matches your make and model with the installed. You'll order it, it'll show up at your door, you install it. When you are done, you could take your undamaged, unaltered thermostat housing that came off of your machine, and you could send it back to quadrivator.com, and they will credit you a sum of money back against your card or however you paid. It's an exchange program. It's a good program. They will then take your housing, they'll clean it up, they'll drill it, they'll mill it, they'll put a sensor in it, and they will sell it to another customer down the line. Pretty slick. Also, check out their website, because you can get a complete package of a rocker switch, gauge, sensor, thermostat housing all in one, and it will come with directions on how to install it. And I don't know if it comes with the wiring you will need. That's something you would have to ascertain through them. You look in the forums, you will see they are referred to there. People have had very high success with their products. So that is an alternative available to you if you want to go that route. As I mentioned earlier, I went the route of the thermostat housing rather than, like with high lifter, a T-fitting in the radiator line, because I'd already done that before. I wanted something different. I just wanted something different, something new to try and to do. So I did it this way. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I just wanted to do something different on this machine. So that was why I went that route. No other reason. The high lifter has been in that Polaris Ranger since 2004, 2005. It was that winter I did it. I've not had a single failure. From what I've researched and understand of auto gauge, I should have equal dependability and reliability from their product. So quite a bit cheaper too, folks. You want to keep that in mind. So final wrap up, guys, ladies. That's right, ladies. My wife's a wheeler. She's got a Polaris that she thoroughly enjoys trail riding. So you ladies too, this is not a terribly difficult mod to do if you want to do it. A little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more control, and it's not out of the reach of anyone who's not afraid to turn some wrenches. It really isn't. So, guys, girls, if you have these machines, these quads are a lot of fun. Get out, ride them, enjoy them. Be safe, be smart. Hit the trails, hit the dirt, hit the county roads. Just do it and have fun. Otherwise, folks, I hope you at least enjoyed this video. If it helped anyone, outstanding. If it misled anyone, I'm terribly sorry. That was not my intent at any point, at any time. So please take it for what it is. It's a how-to video, meant to help, meant to entertain. Get out and ride, guys, girls. Be safe, be smart. I'll see you in the next one.